9:33 a.m. Eastern Time, this morning. That's the exact moment when the other shoe didn't just drop it. It basically crashed right through the floorboards.
Yeah, we're talking about a single piece of paper, a formal letter.
And it just arrived at the federal prosecutor's office and completely rewrote the ending to the biggest legal drama in the country.
It's a moment historians are going to circle in red ink. Because at 9:33 a.m., Melania Trump's legal team officially said no.
Just no.
No deal, no cooperation, and the big one, no testimony against Ivanka Trump.
And look, we aren't just talking about a polite no thank you. This is a refusal that might literally decide whether a mother is home when her kid finishes elementary school or when they're packing for college.
The stakes are that high. This is United States versus Ivanka Trump. And today, the entire landscape of that battlefield, it just shifted violently.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are unpacking the silence, the rage, and what really looks like the family business.
We're going to get into the deal Melania walked away from, the absolute chaos that erupted at Mar-a-Lago just 17 minutes later.
And I mean chaos. We're talking crash phone screens, screaming matches.
And we have to talk about the Cypress structure.
That phrase, the Cypress structure, it sounds like something out of a spy novel.
And it might just be the thing that haunts this entire defense.
But before we get to all that, the spy thriller stuff, we have to look at the immediate fallout. Because this deep dive is all about connecting the dots between, a letter in Washington and a cracked wall in Florida.
Let's start with the offer itself.
Yeah.
Because to understand the refusal, you really have to understand what was on the table.
Right. This wasn't some kind of mystery box. The prosecutors sent what's called a proffer letter way back on December 9th, 2024. What exactly were they asking Melania to do?
It was pretty standard operating procedure, really, for a fraud case of this size. The government basically told Melania, come in and testify truthfully.
Not about everything, though.
No, not about everything under the sun. Just about 3 specific financial transactions that she personally witnessed.
And if she did that?
If she did that, the prosecution would recommend a downward departure in Ivanka's sentencing.
Which is legalese for help us and we'll help her.
It's exactly that. It's a transaction. You give us the testimony we need to make the case airtight, and we tell the judge to go easy on the prison time.
But Melania's team didn't jump on it.
No, they stalled. They asked for extensions in January, then again in February. They even threw up this marital privilege argument.
Which, to a lot of people listening, that probably sounds like a pretty good excuse, right? I can't testify against my husband's business because, we're married.
It sounds good, but it just doesn't hold water here. And the prosecutors made that very clear.
Why not?
Spousal privilege protects pillow talk. It protects private communications between a husband and a wife. It does not protect business dealings that you have with third parties in the room.
So if there are accountants there?
Exactly. If you're discussing loan fraud with 2 accountants and your daughter in the room, that is not a private marital moment. That is a business meeting, period.
So the shield didn't work. And then this morning, the final answer comes back just, Mrs. Trump declines.
That's it. Concise. Brutal, really. No counterproposal, no explanation. Just a flat refusal to assist in the United States versus Ivanka Trump.
So let's do the math here, because you said this is the difference between elementary school and high school for Ivanka's kids.
Yeah.
What did the actual numbers look like?
It's stark. She's facing 3 counts of bank fraud, 2 counts of tax fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy. Now, federal sentencing guidelines, they're a formula. They look at the crime severity and the defendant's acceptance of responsibility.
And she's pleading not guilty, so she gets 0 points for acceptance.
Correct. So without any cooperation, which is where we are right now, the guideline range for these charges, especially with loans over $10 million, it sits somewhere between 11 and 19 years.
11 to 19 years. I mean, that's a lifetime.
And you have to remember, this is the federal system. There is no parole.
None.
You serve 85% of your sentence. It's mandatory. So if she gets the max, she is doing 16 years, hard time.
Wow. Okay, so what if Melania had said yes this morning?
The exposure drops.
Yeah.
A lot. With what's called a substantial assistance motion from the prosecution, judges will typically knock 20 to 40% right off the sentence.
So we'd be looking at what, roughly?
Roughly a range of 6 to 10 years.
So Melania's silence today, just by saying no, effectively doubled her stepdaughter's potential prison time.
Mathematically, yes. That is the reality of the situation, and that reality, it seems, hit Mar-a-Lago like a freight train.
This is where the story just gets wild, because we have a timeline. A minute-by-minute account of the 17 minutes right after that refusal letter, and it is Well, it's visceral.
And we need to be very clear about this. This isn't just gossip. This is evidence. This is what prosecutors call consciousness of guilt.
Okay, break that down for us. What does that mean?
Consciousness of guilt is a legal concept. It basically asks, how does a defendant react to bad news? If you're innocent and someone refuses to testify, you might be annoyed or indifferent.
But you probably wouldn't fly into a rage.
Exactly. But if you react with rage, with threats, with attempts to intimidate, that suggests you know you're in the wrong. You're panicking because the walls are closing in.
So 9:33 a.m. the letter lands. Then at 9:52 a.m., we have a sworn statement from a Secret Service agent.
Yeah, this is a guy whose job is to take a bullet for the family, and he is filing a formal report about what he saw and heard.
He was 12 feet away. He says Donald Trump took a call from his lead lawyer.
And the quote from the agent's statement is chilling. He hears the former president shouting, "Melania is betraying this family. She's siding with Smith against her own daughter."
Siding with Smith. That's Jack Smith, the special counsel.
Right. And then it gets physical. The call goes on for 4 minutes. The volume just keeps going up, profanity, and it ends with Trump hurling his phone against a wall.
Cracking the screen. You just have to picture the scene. This isn't a movie script. It's a federal witness statement.
And it didn't stop there. That was just the physical release. Then came the pressure campaign.
At 11:13 a.m.
We have texts. These are text messages between Donald and his son, Eric Trump.
I have the transcript right here. Donald writes, "Make your mother understand what loyalty means. Talk won't fix this."
And Eric just replies, "I'll talk to her."
But his dad isn't done. He texts back. "She needs to know there are consequences."
Consequences. This is what prosecutors live for. This looks an awful lot like witness tampering or obstruction. You're using family members to influence a potential witness. It's textbook consciousness of guilt.
And then, because nothing in this story stays private for long, it goes public. 11:27 a.m. Truth Social.
The post that was up for exactly 17 minutes, just long enough for everyone to screenshot it before a lawyer, I'm sure, frantically had him take it down.
And the post said, "Disloyal wives who put prosecutors before family will learn what real consequences mean."
Disloyal wives. It's a public threat. And even deleted, the prosecution has it. They will use this to argue that Trump knows exactly how damaging Melania's testimony would be.
Because if her testimony didn't matter, why the rage? Why the cracked phone?
You only freak out like that if you know she holds the smoking gun.
Which brings us to the $47 million question. What does Melania know? Why is her silence worth shattering a phone over?
It boils down to 3 specific events. And we have to remember, Melania wasn't just, an accessory at Mar-a-Lago. She was a signatory. She was in the room for these things.
Okay, let's start with transaction 1, May 17, 2019.
It was a meeting in the executive offices at Mar-a-Lago. You have Donald, you have Ivanka, you have Melania, and 2 accountants. The topic, a $47 million loan application to Deutsche Bank.
And the fraud here is the old inflate the assets game.
Precisely. The accusation is that Donald told Ivanka to use real estate appraisals from 2017 when they were sky high instead of the current 2019 market values, which were much lower.
And Melania is sitting right there at the table.
She's at the table. The accountants have already testified that this happened. But for a family member to confirm it, that is the nail in the coffin. That's corroboration that erases reasonable doubt.
But that's just one loan. The second piece of evidence. This is the Cypress structure, one that sounds like a spy movie.
This, in my opinion, is the single most damaging piece of evidence that Melania has. It's a text exchange from August of 2020.
What happened?
Ivanka is panicking about an IRS audit. She texts Melania asking for advice on an asset disclosure form.
And Melania texts back, I'm quoting here, "Use the Cypress structure like we discussed with your father. They can't trace beneficial ownership."
Use the Cypress structure, beneficial ownership. These are not casual phrases. These are terms of art in the world of money laundering and tax evasion.
This implies she knew what it was for.
It implies she understood the mechanism of concealment. It completely destroys the "I was just signing whatever they put in front of me" defense. And notice she says, "like we discussed with your father."
I connects him directly to it.
Directly to the creation of this offshore structure designed to hide money from the IRS.
And this isn't just a theoretical structure. We are talking about real cash.
That's transaction 3, the money trail. Between 2018 and 2022, Melania is listed as an authorized user on accounts in both Cyprus and the Cayman Islands.
How much money are we talking about?
Total deposits come to $18.44 million.
Wow. over $18 million.
And the prosecution wanted her to explain the source of those funds. Her testimony could have connected Ivanka's control over that money directly to the fraud.
Okay, before we zoom out to the bigger picture here, I want to hear from you listening. Jump into the comments right now. Is Melania's silence loyalty, or is it self-preservation? Is she protecting Ivanka, or is she protecting herself from some very tough questions about $18 million? Let us know what you think.
That's the core question, isn't it?
Right.
Self-preservation is a powerful motivator.
So we have the refusal, the rage, the Cyprus receipts. But you said earlier this isn't just about Ivanka. This is about a family enterprise.
Right. If we zoom out, you have to look at the pattern.
Yeah.
This is where the legal theory shifts from, a bad business deal to something more like ICO territory.
ICO, as in the mob.
As in organized crime. Look at the roster. You've got Donald charged with 34 counts of business fraud. You have Don Jr. charged with tax evasion and using shell companies. Now you have Ivanka with bank and tax fraud.
It's a full house.
And the method is identical across the board. You have falsified documents. You have offshore accounts to hide who owns what. And they're using the Trump organization's legitimate infrastructure to commit fraud.
So it's not three separate bad apples. It's a blighted orchard.
It's a systemic operation. I've compared it before to the Gotti family cases, or even Paul Manafort. You have a central figure, the father, directing the flow, and you have lieutenants, the children, executing the schemes using the family business as a cover.
And Melania was the one person who saw all of it.
She was the thread that could have tied it all together. She witnessed the meetings with Donald. She seems to have knowledge of the offshore accounts. She was actively advising Ivanka on the Cyprus structure.
Her testimony wouldn't just convict Ivanka.
It would have helped prove the existence of the criminal enterprise itself.
Which explains the meltdown at Mar-a-Lago. It wasn't just about one case.
Well, yes and no. It helps the defense on the surface, but we have to look at the calendar. Today is February 11, 2026. The trial begins June 9, 2026.
That's 124 days from now.
The clock is ticking. Loudly. Jury selection starts that day. And without Melania, the prosecution is pivoting. Their new strategy is simple. Paper doesn't lie.
And they have a mountain of it.
They have the bank records, they have the emails, they have the Cyprus text message itself. You don't need Melania on the stand to read her own text message to a jury.
The text exists, whether she's there or not.
The text exists. The bank transfers exist. The false appraisals exist. The evidence is overwhelming. Juries understand documents. They understand math. If you say a building is worth X to get a loan, but you tell the tax man it's worth Y to save on taxes, that's fraud. You don't need a stepmother to cry on the stand to prove that.
But the drama of it all, that certainly would have captivated a jury.
Oh, it would have been the spectacle of the century. But now it's going to be a cold, hard, document-heavy trial. And honestly, for Ivanka, that might actually be worse.
How so?
Emotional appeals don't work very well against bank ledgers.
So to wrap this all up, what does this mean? Melania chose silence. Ivanka is facing down a potential 19-year sentence. And Donald is throwing phones at walls.
It means the system is just grinding forward. The deal is dead. The family is trying to close ranks. But that consciousness of guilt evidence, that pure rage we saw this morning, that is going to come back to haunt them.
Yeah.
You cannot threaten witnesses, even when they're family.
It's just a mess. A very high-stakes, expensive mess. Before we go, I have one final provocative thought for you to chew on. We know the Cyprus structure text exists. It's in black and white. The prosecutors have it.
Right.
So, did Melania actually need to testify for a conviction?
Go on.
Or was this cooperation deal really just a test? Was the prosecutor just giving the family a chance to turn on each other to see what they would do? And maybe more importantly, was the refusal a sign of loyalty? Or was it fear of what else might come out if Melania ever took that oath?
That's the billion-dollar question. Because once you're on that stand, you can't pick and choose what you answer. Maybe the silence wasn't about saving Ivanka at all.
Maybe it was about keeping the rest of the skeletons deep in the closet.
Paper doesn't lie, but silence can speak volumes.
We will be back as soon as the next shoe drops, or I guess the next phone hits a wall. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Stay curious.